Hello, and welcome to the Mindset Alchemy podcast. I'm your host, Janine Kathleen, and I'm here to help you understand what catalysts you can use so that your mindset can shift and change, that your body no longer dictates what you're doing and can work alongside you to help you to achieve that incredible passion inside of yourself. It first of all starts with, well, what is your passion? And something many forget is that we can have different dreams and goals, different passions in different areas of our life. And it's when we are able to own this and know that we don't have to have one grand passion for our entire life. We can rather have smaller passions in different areas. We can have one grand passion and many other smaller ones. It's entirely up to you what you choose to create. What I mean about catalysts, having a catalyst. Well, I know for myself, when I'm feeling very pressurized, I will say to myself, Janine, you have all the time in the world. Body, we no longer require this adrenaline rush that is now creating this anxiety and this panic because it is not going to get us there any faster. And when I just keep affirming to myself, Janine, you have all the time in the world. Please notice I'm not using the word I am using my name, because then the brain goes, oh, who's this? What is this? It's a form of pattern interrupt that really helps us to shift it. Janine, you have all the time in the world. It is just incredible how space opens up. Things fall into place. And do I get to do the work? Well, most times half of it seems to miraculously disappear, and I have the wonderful results that come forward. What does this have to do with our passion? Well, it helps us to learn to trust ourselves, to trust that we are on the better path, that we can have things with more ease rather than everything having to be hard, drudgery, and absolute push, 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 push. It allows deadlines to become completion lines rather than people being dead along the line, because that state of exhaustion and of pressure really doesn't help. Now, I am a person that does require a finish point, a finish date. When I have a deadline, I panic. When I have a finish date, I get done. It happens with ease. I don't tend to do it at the end. I tend to now structure it more carefully, plan it more simply, and allow it in a way that is just so much more effortless. This creates space for me to learn to trust myself. And guess what? You can do the same. It begins with knowing where you're going, putting completion dates to it, and then allowing yourself to say, well, I have all the time in the world and I choose this time to complete it. And what does this look like? What does it feel like? What is my next step? Working it backwards helps me. Okay, so if this is my completion date there, what is required and where does it fit in along the timeline? Because remember, I have all the time in the world. I can allocate the time. I can allocate where it's going. And I tune into my intuition. I go, okay, we start with this. And very often it will be so absolutely illogical what to start with. And yet when I look back, it was the integral part of what is required. This is the catalyst, knowing how to work with yourself rather than against yourself. The catalyst for me is I have all the time in the world. Then the map that I'm following works along the lines of, well, what is the completion date? What does it look like? What are the tasks required and what are the targets along the way? This helps us so much with personal leadership. We are literally leading ourselves along the path without stressing ourselves. Yes, pressure is one thing, stress is another thing. Pressure creates diamonds, stress cracks them. And isn't it a much known fact? Well, maybe it's not a known fact that people pay for the stress-free diamonds, rather they pay more for ones with no stress lines than they do with stress lines within. So As a society, we prefer things without the stress lines. So let us take that stress off ourselves. Let us allow ourselves to be a diamond that is pure through understanding where to take the stress off while still allowing the pressure that creates that diamond. How does it get any better than this? So, number one, we normally use a catalyst to shift our mindset. This can be an affirmation, it can be a way of being, it can be a movement. Number two, we allow ourselves to change the way we look at things. We allow the pressure without the stress. We allow the completion date without the deadline. Because words associate us with, we have associations with words, and there's certain things we don't wish to be associated with. And number three, learn to trust yourself, trust your intuition, and step into being who you choose to be and who you create to be. Because after all, we're human beings. We're not human doings. We're not human rushings. We are human beings. So choose who you are being and allow yourself to understand what your body is saying. Where there's an addiction, replace it, and to step into the power and greatness of who you are, leading yourself personally as you lead your world and those around you. Well, actually holding space for them to lead themselves by leading yourself. If you have any questions, reach out. If you would like to know more about working with me, let me know. You'll find me on social media under Janine Kathleen. And I will also leave ways to contact me in the links below. I'm not sure what you call it, whatever. My brain is saying too much pressure, too much stress here. Allow the pressure, not the stress. Oh, in the show notes, that's what I'm looking for, the show notes. And may you have a day where you trust yourself, understand you have all the time in the world, and you are looking for a completion date with targets along the way. Have a good one. Bye-bye.